Are you somebody that is looking to start a business, but you have no idea what sort of business you want to start? Or maybe you're somebody that has just started your business, but you're not quite sure how to systemize it and what you really need to set up from the start to set you up for success. Well, you are in luck, because in today's episode, we are going to take you through what business you should start for yourself and how you can systemize it. Now, I must apologize. The footage isn't amazing because it actually is a podcast episode that I recorded, and we've just taken out the gold nuggets for it and turned it into a YouTube episode. So please forgive me for that. But the content is absolutely amazing. Tanya shares some amazing strategies for you to figure out what business you should start and how you should systemize it. So make sure you watch it till the very end. But before we jump in, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get weekly notifications as to when I put out new content and videos. I'm going to be releasing a whole bunch of stuff around mindset, personal development, anything that's to do with you becoming a better person. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell. Now let's dive into the episode. All right, guys, welcome back to the Millennial Business Podcast. I'm so excited to be joined today by the amazing Tanya, who I connected with on Instagram. She has branded herself as a wholehearted business coach, which I absolutely love. Tanya, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
When you were at your 9 to 5 and you're thinking, okay, I need to start automating these things because I don't have a whole bunch of time to be working in my business, what were some of the first things that you really started to automate?
Yeah, the first thing was definitely a sales funnel, like having a sale. I don't know if I would do that again, knowing what I know now. Like I'd rather have clients where you're making money before you build a sales funnel, because it's actually not that hard to book like 3 clients and be making some money before you actually spend money on software, where I see people making that mistake all the time. Like, don't buy the software until you have the clients.
I agree.
But yeah, building a sales funnel where I was attracting new people and like booking consult calls every single day. And then I obviously put those onto Facebook ads, which then I became obsessed with Facebook ads, which are amazing, but not everyone is ready until you have the funnel working. Yeah. So that really helped me. And it was just like, it got so crazy, so big and so quickly, like I actually couldn't afford to be at my 9 to 5 job anymore.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was your very first sales funnel? What did it look like?
So it was, it's actually the exact same thing as it still is right now. So that's like something to note, is like, if you do this process correctly, you should never have to do it again. So I had a like free downloadable, which is still there. And it led to my webinar. At the time I was doing the webinar live. Now it's obviously automated. And it also sells some people on like a small self-study course, which like that's like what we call a tripwire. And really all that does is like pay for your ad spend, which again, is really an ideal thing to have, because then, you know, you're just making money off of it and it's paying for itself. But yeah, so it was like getting people into your ecosystem, letting them to get to know you more, putting some videos in there. I started doing a lot of live videos, which is really the thing that started my business like exploding at the beginning, was getting visible. Because when I started, like Facebook Live was like a brand new thing. And I had a huge fear of public speaking, like huge. Like I still have a small fear of public speaking, but like nowhere. Like before I used to just be a frozen statue and just like stare and be like, or cry. Like either one of those would happen. So live video was like a huge issue for me, that everyone kept saying, you got to do a live, you got to do a live. Like this is this brand new thing. And I was like, I said for 6 months I would do it. But the first live video I did, everyone's so afraid that people are going to judge you or something, or it's going to be horrible. And it might be horrible, but trust me, mine's cringeworthy when I watch it back now. But literally, like, that was what really got my face out there, and people started to notice. And like, as I continued to do that, again, people like get to interact with you. Like it's so much, I mean, Instagram stories is kind of like a small mini live now, but they don't get to interact with you live and like hear you answer questions. And I think that was really the thing that helped my business grow, in addition to having this funnel that people could download it and get something. and get quick wins, I think is their like main thing with any challenge, a webinar, or a free download is like, what are the quick wins that someone can get immediately from doing this? Like it shouldn't have to take them a week for them to see a result. They should be able to get the result immediately.
Yeah. And are you still, is doing live something that you're still utilizing in your business?
Oh,
you do them on Instagram and Facebook, or just Insta now? Or
I don't do them on Instagram, and I'll tell you, like, so honestly, it's because of the creepers. Like I really try my hardest on Instagram Live. One, I don't like that it disappears. Two, I honestly, like, as much as I can block those freaking annoying creepers out, I just don't enjoy them. And so I really focus on doing Facebook Lives in my Facebook group. Because one, I can be my absolutely wild and crazy self and don't need to worry. And I usually make some pretty inappropriate comments. And because it's only women in my Facebook group, it's okay. And I can say those things. And so it's like, I used to do them on my Facebook page and put them on an ad, but I haven't been doing that just because like your Facebook page gets shown to basically nobody. So I do more like IGTV. I'll like edit the video for my Facebook Live and put it on IGTV, but I typically don't do the live video. Do you do a lot of live videos?
No, I don't, but I know a couple of people who I've been watching online have really started upping their game with Insta live videos. So I'm thinking like maybe that's something I need to incorporate into my marketing in 2020.
Like, I think all live video is good. I don't think there's any bad way to do live video. Like the only thing I would say is after you finish, like I'm always like, okay, post, like I'm done, like get me off of this. And actually that's the only time to save it. So you really have to press save and then post. And I literally always forget to do that. So if you're going to do a live on Instagram, press save, then post.
Okay.
Because then it's the video. Yeah. Because, and then just like edit out the creepers.
Yeah. Amazing. And so if somebody does have a business that they're running and they're potentially just starting out, you said, okay, so just get some clients before you potentially start to create the sales funnel. What were your best ways? What are your suggestions in terms of how to get your first few clients?
Okay, hands down, this is like this fail-proof strategy that every single one of my clients for the past 3.5 years does. And honestly, it's so good that my clients always want to go back and do it again because it's so easy, and it's like you can't do this forever. This is like a strategy you can use once a year.
Okay.
And it's basically doing market research. And when I say market research, people think I'm like, oh, talk to 200 people. No, talk to 3 to 5 people. That's it. Like ask for help. Ask if someone would be interested. If they're one of your dream clients, you can just put out a post that's like, this is what I'm looking for. Like, does this describe you? And if it does, I'd love to chat with you if you'd be open to answering a couple of questions. Make it casual, make it like chill. Like it doesn't have to be like so intense. You don't have to call it market research. Just be like, I'd love to like get some feedback, or I'd love to ask you a couple of questions. I'm doing a bit of research. You can say something like that. And people love to help. That's the key. It's like people love helping people. And so you're very likely going to get people who are like, yes, I'd love to help you. Yes, no problem. Like, yes, count me in. And like, you'll definitely get 3 to 5 people. Like 3 people is enough. And then you just record that. And from those questions, number one, I give my clients the questions of like what to ask, just to get some information on like a program, an offer, like what their struggle is, like what have they been looking for that they haven't been able to find is always a good one. Like what would they pay anything to make disappear is another great question. Because when you ask some of these really open-ended questions, you hear like their stories that they describe, their experiences, like what the words that they use. And then in exchange for helping you, you give them a free something, whatever, a free call with you. What happens there is it's a relationship building exercise. Like when they actually get to talk to you, when they get to experience, when I was first coaching, my mentor coach said to me, I used to call coaching magic because I was like, it is magic. You talk to somebody and can literally change their entire life. What other word for that other than magic is there? And my coach was like, no one buys magic, Tanya. people don't necessarily believe in buying magic. And I was like, yes, this is true.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, how did you experience coaching and the magic of coaching? I was like, well, I experienced it. Like I had a coach or I spoke with a coach and I experienced the transformation.
Yeah.
And she was like, exactly. So like people need to experience whatever it is that your service is or whatever it is that your product is. Like they need some sort of interaction with you so that they connect with you. We buy from people we like, right? We buy from companies' stories that we believe in, that we connect with their brand story.
Yeah.
And so when they get to talk to you, when they get to experience your service, like a bite, not the whole thing, like, you know, we're not giving them something and saying, have a nice day, like, see you later. You're giving them a taste, you know, like a Costco taste, like leave them wanting more. But once they get on the phone with you a second time and now they're like, oh my God, I'm like, yes, now I just had this quick win. I had this transformation. How can I work with you more? And then you have an offer created from what they just told you they wanted.
So smart.
It's literally very easy. You don't have to come up with all of the bells and whistles. They're going to tell you what they want. Then you have them have a transformation. They build a relationship with you. And then you give them the offer that they actually want. Bam. Like it's very easy, but like so easy that people want to go back and do it all the time. Not a good idea. Like once you have the information, once you have the clients, once people are paying you for the thing that you're doing, you have some money coming in. Now it's time to say, how can I put this to a larger scale?
Yeah. And so if somebody is at that stage and they've got sort of 3 to 5 clients and then they do want to take it to a larger scale, is automation the next thing that more automation, or what's the next?
I likely wouldn't do automation just yet because I think that automation doesn't really come in until you have a proven strategy that works.
Gotcha.
It takes a lot of like testing and trying and like all of that kind of stuff. So what we would do next is like, okay, some people are like, that's all that I want. Some people are like, I want a couple of more clients. Then you can do like a launch if you want, or a challenge or something like that, where you might want to do a course, you might want to do a workshop, a live event, a retreat, something like that, where now you can say, like my clients usually come to me because they don't want to only sell their time, basically. Like they want something that can be, you know, more leveraged, a leveraged offer of some sort. So if you can offer it in a group setting would be the next stage. It's like, how can I offer these services to more people at one time? And so whatever that looks like, whether it's a membership, a group program, a self-study, a live event, a workshop, anything like that, that offers the services, or like you do it and it actually helps multiple people at once. That would be probably the next step, I would say, for most people, not everyone. Like I'm more of like, what do you see your business being? And what do you want it to look like? And then we'll build a strategy around that. But typically if that was the direction that they wanted to go in, then I would say, okay, like now we would build that thing and launch it. So like launching has become a big, big, big part of what I do with my clients. Because again, launching is really fun, makes a little money, but it's very strategic.
And for someone who doesn't know what you're referring to when you say launching, do you want to give the audience a bit of an explanation as to what that is?
Basically just like selling out whatever it is that you've created. So selling out your program, selling out your course. Like let's say you want 100 people in there, or 50 people, or 10 people. Whatever it is that you want to sell it out is, because at the beginning, like nobody really knows you. So how do you build hype and how do you sell out something when people have never taken this before? Don't have testimonials, by the way. You don't have to wait until you have testimonials to launch something. That stops everyone. And it's like, you don't need that. You don't need to have done it before in order to launch it. And if no one's gone through it and you haven't created it yet, because by the way, you don't create the thing before you sell it. We always sell it out before you ever start creating it. And so everyone is always uneasy about, how do I sell something I haven't even created yet? So, you know, that's like that mindset piece, and helping them through those stages of like how you sell something that isn't even created yet. And then, like, how do you create hype for it? How do you get people interested? How do you sell it out? And it's a process. I typically do a 2-month launch with my clients. I think it's important for not just you, and like to go through a bunch of stages. But for people that are going to join or sign up, for them to go through a number of stages of the process of like, is this right for me?
Definitely. And launching as well, guys, it doesn't necessarily have to be if you're just doing an online program or if you're doing coaching or something. Like I use launching with my creative agency as well. And when it was interesting when I did my first launch, it didn't sell as many, like I didn't get as many clients as I had hoped, but the amount of awareness that I created amongst the community of people that follow me. And I had so many people even just reaching out and congratulating me on the launch. And it just created this huge amount of awareness with the first one. For then the next ones, it sort of created like this ongoing effect that people now knew and were more aware that I was offering these sorts of things and this is what I'm really doing. So that first one created the awareness and then it helped to sell the next ones, which is super powerful. And that for me, that wasn't with coaching or online programs or anything. That was with packages that I offer with my creative agency.
Yeah, so, and I do the same thing with like, I have clients who are authors. I have clients who sell like physical products. I have clients that have MLMs. Like it doesn't have to be like a service-based either. Like it's really just like, how do you create hype around something that people have never seen before? And then how do you sell it out? And then after that, you never have to do a launch like that again, because now people have that awareness. Like people know what it is. Like you don't have to build that brand awareness. And so it's much easier to sell it out. Then maybe like you can set it up on an automated system because again, it's a proven strategy that you know sells and people want it. And then, or maybe you decide like, this is how I'm going to do a week of launching this every whatever quarter or something like that. But it's much easier the second time. But for that first time, it creates recurring income, because I really help my clients to focus on how can you create recurring income, because I think that's how we even out our revenue as an entrepreneur. So you're not like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm going to make this month. Like every month I'm back at zero. That's the most horrific way to live. It's the most stressful experience. And it's very difficult to have a team of people, if you ever want a team, when you can't make payroll because you don't know how much money you're going to make.
Yeah.
So it's very important to like have like know what you're going to be making each month and like not have to be launching. And I mean, I know this is a strategy that lots of people do use and are very successful at it, but like, I don't launch something every single week or every single month. I don't want to live like live launch all the time. How do you create more sales and have like, that's why it's called a sales funnel. How can you have sales happening without you having to work every single day?
Definitely. And so if somebody is wanting to create more of a recurring income and steady out their income throughout the month and not have it so sort of up and down, what are your first sort of suggestions in that sense?
So my first suggestion would be like, stop making the pay in full so attractive. Don't make it so attractive for people to pay in full, because if they're getting a big discount to pay in full, everyone's going to take that. They're going to put it on their credit card and they're going to say, I'll take the pay in full option because I'm getting a discount. So number one, either don't offer pay in fulls if you're doing like a multi-month thing, or create an offer that is multi-month, like whether it's like a membership or a course, or even having a contract with people. Now, this doesn't work for every business, but having like even a subscription, like maybe you have a subscription box if like it's a product-based business. Maybe you offer like monthly trainings in like an online area for like some book that you sold. Like, you know, there's all these different ways that you can create an offer, whether it's high or low, to create monthly recurring income. And if you structure it that way and you're thinking about how can I like sign people for more than just one time or more than just a one-off offer, how can I give them a bundle or a deal or like a monthly offer or put them on a contract? Because also I always look at like what is really in service of that person. At the end of the day, it's not even so much about like my income. Like, yes, that's important. And my client's income, yes, that's important. But at the end of the day, is it really in service of your client? Only have one time with you. Like as a coach, definitely not. So like, I know that like as an agency, even as a Facebook ads agency, like if you were having like a paid ads agency, is it really in service of them to only work with you for 1 month? is that really in service of them? No. Are they going to get the results that they want just from 1 month, or do they need 2 or 3 months? If you're working with a VA, like, is it really in service of you and them to like be able to never know like how many clients you have or how many clients you're servicing that month, like, or how much time they have with you every single month? Because like now they're not planning, now that you don't know how many clients you have and if you're going to have space for the work that they need you to do, right? Having that recurring monthly income is important for you, but it's also important for the results that your client is expecting to get. So think about like what would be in service of them, and if the one-time offer is really doing them a disservice or giving them the service to get the results that they're paying you for.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that really changed my business as well. Like when I first moved here to Bali, I was giving a huge discount if you paid for the full month. And then when I started offering weekly pricing, it helped so much because it wasn't just like a big lump of money at the start and then it sort of dwindles away towards the end. And then at the end, you're like,
yeah, well, I don't know if anyone's read Profit First, but a great book to read. I read it way too late in my business career. And I was like, why didn't somebody tell me about this earlier? But one of like the most like transformational thoughts in the book for me was that as entrepreneurs, like we're always going to have expenses. We're not very good, we want our business to grow. So we're investing and we want to invest all the money that we're making back into growing our business to our detriment at some point. But also he was saying he was watching this infomercial one night and it was about health. And it was saying that if you just purchase smaller plates, you'll lose 5 pounds a year just from having a smaller plate, because most people are accustomed to eating what's on their plate. So if it's smaller, you put less on it, you don't even realize it, and then you eat less because you just finished off your plate and now you feel full. Wow. Same thing with our bank account. If we see all the money in our bank account all at once in that lump sum, we're not very good at managing our money. This is not, I was like, oh my God, this is not just a me thing. Because I'm pretty good about managing my money. But when I read this, I was like, this is not just a me thing. This is an every entrepreneur thing. We look at what's in the bank account and we make decisions based on what's in our bank account. So if we're not getting it all at once and having to deal with it and make it last, it's much easier for us to manage that. 1, 2, he recommends that you actually move it to a separate account and take your profit first. Why it's called Profit First. And then pay for expenses based on what's left over, rather than paying for expenses based on all the money that you have and thinking, oh, what's left over for me? Because when we look at that, there's not that much left over. So take your part out first, then pay expenses and taxes and everything. And whatever's left, that's the money that you can make business decisions with. If you're, because also if you're oh my God, I have no money in my bank account, we're oh, I've got to promote something. Oh, I got to sell something. But that alarm bell will sound a lot earlier if you've already taken out your income and the money for taxes and all of that stuff and paid expenses. And then you're only working with what's left over after all of that. Yeah. It's that was life-changing for me, where I was whoa, why didn't somebody tell me this earlier? That would have been so helpful. Not making
oh my God.
Everything.
I think I need to read this book, and it's going to
change. I recommend it. Also. And it's very funny. I thought it would be so boring. So I was I don't need another business book. It's actually really funny and really well written and a very easy read. It's not boring, but yeah, it's definitely a very simple, very easy concept that we can all get and be oh, it's not just you who's why is there so little left over for me at the end?
Yeah. And I think that's something that so many entrepreneurs struggle with if they are having a tough time or if they're going through something difficult or they don't know how to do it. They're everyone else seems like they know what they're doing. Everyone else is doing so amazing and I feel like I'm not. And it's such a big, I hear it so many times here in Bali because I go to a lot of entrepreneurial events because there's so many on, and everyone seems to think that it's just them stuck in their own little bubble. But then when we all talk, it's oh, we actually all feel the same way. It's
so true. And 1, that was definitely what I felt when I read that book. And 2, literally, I try to explain this so many times to people, and even to my friends who look at entrepreneurship and think, oh my God, it's so amazing. And I had those rose-colored glasses on at the beginning too, but I've been in this long enough to see a lot of people's businesses fail, be that's never going to happen to me. But I think it's everyone's business behind the scenes is literally nothing like what you see on social media. Like what people portray themselves as, that is not what is happening on an everyday basis. Like I have a client who made like $200,000 in her first year of business, and literally like,
wow,
from the surface, she is always like, everyone's like, oh my God, she's doing so amazing. Yeah, she's doing so amazing. Is that what her life looks like every day? Like, no, there's like a lot of crying, a lot of fails, like a lot of things are going to shit, a lot of things are going wrong. And like, no one sees those times. Like I have those times. Like I've made so many horrific mistakes in my business and been like, what's wrong with me? But like, nobody sees those parts. I wish that more people would share them personally, because I'm like, I think it's very isolating. It makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, when really every single person is going through that as an entrepreneur. Like, oh my, nobody teaches you this stuff. And it's not like we can talk to that many people unless you're like in a community where it's like a safe space to have those discussions and have those hard like talks. Like having an accountability partner was like amazing for me, like having that like one person to talk to. But like having a coach, having a community. I once had a one-on-one coach without having a community. And I eventually like joined another group just so that I could be a part of a community, so that you can see that it's not just you. Like I let my one-on-one clients into my group program because I think it's important for them to see that like, it's not just you, and to celebrate with other people, not just your coach, but like with other people, have other people be excited for you and proud of you and see like the success you're having, and also be there for you on the not so happy times, like that you're not alone. And this is not just happening to you, because trust me, it's happening to everyone that you see. Literally every single person you follow does not have their shit together. Literally every single one of them. None of them have their shit together. Literally everybody is struggling. Just like every time you're like, oh my God, she has it perfect. Trust me, like she has so much shit happening behind the scenes. Like no idea.
It's so funny because I get a lot of people from back home sending me messages being like, oh my God, your life is like my dream life. It looks amazing. Like you're always doing such fun things and you're just like taking the next level up and up and up and up and up. And I'm like, yeah, I don't put on my stories when like I have a mental breakdown and like I close my curtains in my room, put my hoodie on and get like some brownies and ice cream and just sit in my room watching movies all day. Like I don't put that on my Instagram.
Exactly. And like,
I should, to try and be more transparent, but like, I don't know if I want people to see me in that state.
And like, I don't think that, that's like a good point though about social media, is like, I don't think that it is our, like, we don't have to put our entire life on social media just because we have put some of it. But yeah, like I don't show those times either. Like sometimes I'm like, I forgot to brush my teeth until the afternoon. Like I like didn't change out of my pajamas all day, you know, like, or like didn't wash my hair for so many days. Like I live alone, you know, like nobody sees my hair. Like, but I think that, yeah, like people don't see that part. And I think we can be like, oh my God, you actually have no idea what I'm going through. Like, this is hard. And like, I never used to want to say that because I would choose this life over literally every other option. Like there's not a day that goes by that I want to give it up. There's not a day that goes by that I'm like, why did I do this? Never. I literally never have that thought. I would rather this stress than any other like job or like anything like that. But that doesn't mean that every single day is amazing and every single day is freedom and every single day we're just killing it and nothing's going wrong. Like, trust me, for everything that's going right, there's a 5 times the number of things that have gone wrong, and it's normal. And I think the more we talk about it, the more people realize like what's happening to you does not mean that you're not going to make it. It literally is normal, and we all go through those things. And I think that those are the reasons that people that are successful is because they didn't give up in those times. Like when things weren't working, when you were getting no's, when you weren't making money, when you were struggling to make ends meet, and you still stuck with it and you still showed up and you still put like, you know, went on that live video when you didn't feel like it, and you still like showed up for that podcast when you didn't feel like it, or like when you still like showed up for your clients when you didn't want to, or when you were sick, or when something horrible was happening in your life. Those are the moments when that was what defines you as being an entrepreneur, because it's not the good times. It's not those good times, because like you only get the good times as a reward for like getting through the shit. And I always think like there's something good that will always come out of this. Like there's a reason that this is happening. It's teaching you something that you're going to need down the road.
Exactly. Well, every mistake that you make, you learn something from it. And like, I've made some pretty epic mistakes in my business, but I have learned so much from every single one. And it really shows you where you need to be showing up more, or you need to have better systems and processes in place, or you need to set boundaries with your clients, or there's so many different things that it teaches you that you wouldn't necessarily have learned if you didn't make the mistake.
From someone, I've learned this about myself. I do not learn from somebody telling me. Yeah. I love making the mistake myself and learning from it. Yeah. So I'm always like, well, I won't do that again.
Yes, I'm the same. And sometimes it takes making the mistake a couple of times until.
Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes you have to make the mistake multiple times for you to be like, you know, maybe this isn't the right idea for me. Or like, you know, even like one of the biggest mistakes I made in my business in 2018 was like following what other people did as like being successful. Is like, I think that, you know, it's so easy to see all of these people like being successful and be like, I just need to do it like that. I just need to do it like this. You know, like this person was successful because they did this, like, oh, they started this amazing membership. I'm going to make a membership and I'm going to do that. But then not really looking at like, is that what you really want your business and your life to look like? For me in 2018, everybody tells me, and every coach I've ever had still tells me this to this day, that I spend too much time with my clients. Like I need to spend less time. I need to give them less. And I need to, you know, make them pay more money for like getting access to certain things and getting access to like as much time as they get with me. But at the end of the day, like I got into business because I loved coaching people and I love the people aspect of it. So, you know, having people tell me like, you know, you have to have a self-study program and you need to have your team members like work with your clients in this area and that stuff like really took me out of the things I really loved doing. Selling just to make money and not actually knowing the person like felt horrible for me. I actually hated it. I was like, I hate making money this way. And that works for tons of people. Tons of people sell tons of self-study courses and memberships that they never know those people. And I just didn't enjoy that kind of life. I've built my business so that I have tons of freedom and I still spend a lot of time with my clients and I give as much of my time to them as possible. And I know I know all of them and I know every single thing about their businesses. And I like that. I like knowing them and I like being involved in that. And I like helping them actually implement things instead of just like doing a video training for them and like not being available to actually help them through that process. And so I set that up in 2018 and I was selling it and I hated my business. And I was just like, I hate this. And so I had to like really like look at like, yes, I hired these people to help me scale my business, but I don't have to scale it the way that they scaled it. And I don't need to scale it by not like, there are ways to scale a business that I can do it my way instead of maybe I'm also a rebel. So I'm like, I can do this differently. But, you know, I was like, I don't need to build a business based on what feels good for someone else and what someone else's dream business is. Like, what is my dream business and what do I want it to look like? I really had to like block out all the noise. People, which I'm pretty good about anyways. I don't really follow that many people, but which is a really good tip for anyone who's struggling with comparison or like, I don't know what I should do. I have all these ideas, or if you've bought all these courses from so many people, like I have clients that like have spent $50,000 on courses before and they're just like overwhelmed with all this information because there's so many contradictory like strategies. The thing is, if I can tell you guys anything, every strategy works. Okay. Every single strategy out there works. It's what is the best strategy that's going to feel the best for you? Like, what do you want your business to look like? And like, how can you build a custom strategy for you and your business and your dream life and your dream business so that you're actually building your dream instead of somebody else's dream? Because I can tell you, even if you're making money, it doesn't necessarily feel good if it's not like the lifestyle or the life or the way you want to be of service.
Yeah, well, because it's not in alignment. It sounds to me like doing that isn't in alignment with your core values. And that's one of the reasons why you didn't want to, at the start, brand yourself as a business coach, is because you saw all of these people just creating all this stuff just to make more money, make more money, make more money. And that didn't feel in alignment with you. And that's why you didn't want to do it. So then when your coaches try to tell you to do that, it doesn't feel in alignment. And that's why you want to do things differently.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you nailed it. Alignment is like, what is in alignment with you? And if it isn't in alignment with you, there's a different strategy to do it. Like, you know, like there's so many amazing strategies out there. They all work. You know, you just need to customize it for what works for you. And I always say to my clients now, like, if it feels hard, I know Gary Vee would probably be like, oh, you know, just like push through. And that's to a point. Like, if it's uncomfortable for you, like, I'm glad I did live video now because now I love it. I think it's so easy. But at the time I thought it was so hard and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. But like really, like once I got going, it was fine. But if like, look for the easy things, like what comes easily to you? Like, what do you feel is easy? Like one of my clients, the one who makes $200,000 in her first year, like she doesn't like send emails. She's never done a live video. She literally like shows up on Instagram stories and like sells from Instagram stories. Like, bam, that's it. Like, do the thing that's easy. You know, like you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to learn a billion things. Like, do the things that are easy. Like one of my clients, like, is like, you know, tech is really hard for her. Typically I attract people that like, you know, want to learn a bit more about tech, that it doesn't come so easily for them because it does come easily to me. But how can they do it so that it feels easy for them? Like if it doesn't feel easy, you're going to avoid it. Right? You're not going to do it. You're going to avoid it. You're going to come up with every other like reason why you can't do it. And every single roadblock is going to stop you. So like, look at what comes easily to me. What do I think is easy? And then how can I hyper focus on building out a strategy around that thing that feels easy? Then your business feels easy. Then selling feels easy. Like then everything just feels like very flowy.
I love that. I absolutely love it. Okay. So if there was one, just to wrap up, if there was one last final thing that you had to say to the audience after everything that we've spoken about, what would be the one last final thing that you would want to share?
I think that something that's really near and dear to my heart lately is like thinking about that selling and being visible is actually in service of people. Like literally this evening, one of my clients was like, I don't want to be annoying to people. I feel like I'm being annoying. And I feel like that's something that comes up a lot for us when it comes to like selling and sharing and being like on social media and like saying things about you and what you do is number one, like people are searching for you. People want what you have to offer. If you've done the market research, you know that there are people that want what you have to offer. You have something that people need and they're searching for it. And so stop thinking about like the people who already heard you, because that's fine. If they heard you and they're not interested, they don't have to listen. You're going out there and you're being of service. Like, how can I be of service? And by hiding in your apartment, even when we feel dirty and like disgusting and upset or like depressed, is like hiding is not helping anyone. Like hiding is actually doing your dream clients a disservice. Like think about the fact that there are people right now desperately searching to find you. And the more that you hide, the more they can't find you. That's really not in service to them. And it will be easy for you to attract those people if they can find you. And they can't hire you if they can't find you. Like it doesn't have to be hard. Like how can you be visible and out there and sharing? Think like see yourself the way your best friend sees you. You know, like identify the things about you that come easily, that people come to you for. Be like, pump your own tires about it. Like we can't wait for other people to pump our tires in this industry. Like we kind of have to talk like you are amazing at the thing that you do. Talk about it, you know, like share, be of service. And be out there and telling people how they can work with you, because if you never tell them, they can't hire you. And if they don't hire you, they can't get help from you. And if they don't get help from you, then they're going to keep searching and they might get help from someone who's not as good as you or is not as good of a fit for them as you are.
I love it. Thank you so much. Tanya, where can people find you if they're interested in you, working with you, about your brand, about anything to do with you, your podcast? Where can we find you online?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at Wholehearted Business Coach and Wholehearted Business Coach on Facebook. My Facebook group is called the Badass Ladypreneurs Club. And also the best place to hear our podcast, it's called How We Hustle, everywhere that you get a podcast. So check out How We Hustle podcast. And yeah, like I also run a program called Leap. It's a online program. I do a couple of one-on-ones a year, but usually my LEAP program has been going for 3 years, and it kills it, and it helps people build their business from the ground up and sell consistently, on automate. So you don't have to so you can have a free life and only work 10 hours a week.
I love that. Okay, so if you found that valuable and you really thought that the tips that Tanya gave us as to how to figure out what business to start and how to systemize it, if you thought that was amazing like I did, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get weekly notifications to watch more amazing content like this. And if you would like support or you have any questions about today's episode, please feel free to either drop them in the comments below or shoot me an email at coachtaylorvictoria@gmail.com so I can help you out with anything that you may need. And until the next episode, I will see you guys next time. Bye!